What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the stream. Everybody that's here, thank you so much for all of your support, all of you being here. Really appreciate it. Anybody that's taking the time to watch the stream after we're done, thank you for taking time out of your day to spend with little old me. Uh, got some new updates, information, stuff like that with all the Kyrie's Irving mess, things like that. I see some people in the chats. Let's jump into some of this stuff real quick. I want Kyrie Irving. Absolutely, I'm with you 100%. I really hope that ends up happening. I hope that develops. Do you follow the NFL? Absolutely. Let me guess, you're a Rams fan. I am actually not a Rams fan. I mean, I'm not like against the Rams. I mean, they're LA. I'm old enough to remember when they were the LA Rams the first time. But to be honest, I've never actually been like, I've never had a favorite football team. I grew up in a household with like 11 people, and like everyone was a different fan of a different team. So weekends and stuff were great. Like my mom was like a Broncos fan. My uncle was like a diehard Packers fan. My stepdad growing up, he was an Oilers fan. My brother is a Chargers fan. We had a family friend that like lived with us for years. She was like a Vikings fan. Like it was like a house of just like chaos when it was football Sunday. So I grew up loving football, played a little football growing up in my life, stuff like that. And then, to this day, I still monitor, watch football, love betting football, definitely. And, I've made a couple football videos, made a video yesterday about some update stuff, but starting next month, we'll ramp up some of the football talk. Basketball is still my bread and butter, so we'll do a lot of basketball talk, but I'd love to start diving into some football as we get closer. It's just right now, there's not really much madness to talk about, but I want Kyrie too. I'm with you. I do. I still think it's a matter of when, not if. And again, I mean, none of us know for certainty. Nobody's really going to know for sure. But I mean, even the reports today from the Atlantic came out, and that was pretty good. I mean, it kind of followed suit of like everything that's been kind of going on. You know how like Kyrie Irving, the Nets don't want him, whether he wants to stay there or not. The Nets don't want him, and it might not be up to Kyrie Irving and what he wants to do. It might solely be up to the Nets, And I mean, the thing is, there's no need to rush, right? I mean, we still got like a month and some change before we're into training camp. The Nets have to figure out the Kevin Durant situation, and I imagine that they hope if they end up pulling off a deal for Kevin Durant, maybe that'll get more teams involved in Kyrie. I don't think that's going to happen, but I do think that teams like the idea is like, okay, let's be patient. We know what the deal is for Kyrie Irving. Like we know what the Lakers have, what they can offer, and what they're willing to offer. So we don't need to rush that. Let's see what we could do with Kevin Durant. Maybe if we trade Kevin Durant, because like you trade Kevin Durant to the Celtics, maybe Miami is like hey, we want to be able to compete. They beat us last year. Now they upgraded with Kevin Durant. Kyrie Irving is not really our kind of guy, but maybe we can just ride it out for a year and see what happens. If it works, cool. If not, then no. And then, maybe they offer Tyler Hero or something, something like that. I mean, not saying it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen, but I think that that's like the logic. That's the thinking, if we remain patient, we never know what tomorrow is going to be. Lakers aren't going anywhere. Lakers trades aren't going anywhere. That's going to be there. That's going to be consistent. So let's go find something else kind of thing. Just for fun, but the Cavaliers added another star back at 20C, like Harden. Would they beat the Warriors in the finals? Absolutely. Like if everyone was healthy, I mean, Kyrie. So, I mean, maybe not Harden because one, Harden doesn't show up. Two, like you kind of have LeBron. But if they got like, what would be a good comparison? Like Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler back in 2017 would have been perfect because he doesn't care. He doesn't care about his points. He just wants to win. He's diehard. Back then he could have guarded the best player. So he could have been all over KD and his group. I mean, you're not going to stop KD, but you slow him down. You know what I mean? And I think that would have been a much more natural fit. Could have had Kyrie at the one, Jimmy Butler at the two. You had LeBron at the three, Love at the four, and then Tristan Thompson at the five. I think that would have been much better. I think, yeah, in that scenario, yes. I mean, Harden, of course, 2017 Harden, they probably still win, but, it could get conflicting. How much is Harden going to show up? At least Jimmy Butler would have showed up, and you would have known that Jimmy Butler he at that time, you're talking 5 years ago now, he was healthier, he was younger, he was still, a solid star. So yeah, I think somebody like that, yeah, if we're talking, just for fun, like you said, yeah, I think that would have happened. You're so consistent. I love it. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, my plan is trying to work it all out. Because obviously I have this channel, I have the Lakers channel, as it stands Lakers. I want to stream over there. I'm gonna try to do a late night stream over there. I will see how it goes. Probably do like it's probably gonna be pretty late, probably like 10 o'clock Pacific time. So that's like what 1 a.m. Eastern time. But we might try to do a live stream over there because I want to try to remain streams. But my plan is starting next month. I want to be consistent, so I'm thinking on the Lakers channel, I'll probably stream at like 3 p.m. over there, and then I'll probably stream at 6 p.m. here, like I did today, because I think that this is usually like a good spot. Like you're kind of in the heart of games, during the season, so we kind of talk about that stuff. Kind of just gives us stuff to talk about, in real time. To kind of help with the conversation stuff. So I think I'll probably start streaming 6 p.m. consistently. Like I'm going to try to do every day here. Same thing with the Lakers channel. Try to do every day there. And, that'll be at 3 probably do this stream at 6. And then, you'll still get the videos and all that stuff every day. But for the most part, I want to try to get a consistent schedule. So everybody that's always in these streams, because I know a lot of you are always in my streams and I appreciate it. They're kind of just random right now. Then yeah, I would like to do that. Obviously, we'll still do like random streams. Like games that Lakers play. I'll probably do a post game live stream over on the Lakers channel. If there's like a game that just, maybe I had some money on and I wanted to rant about, come on here and we could all just yell at each other about why, whatever Tom Brady lost today or something like, so there'll still be random streams, but I want to have like structured live streams starting next month. So what's going on, Marcus? Appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. What's your starting five with Kyrie? So I think if you end up having Kyrie, LeBron runs point. So you probably have LeBron at the point, Kyrie at the 2. Interchangeable, but LeBron's the point. Kyrie at the 2, Anthony Davis at the 4, Thomas Bryant probably at the 5, and then whoever the most consistent guy you have as far as 3-and-D goes during training camp, that's the guy you start. My guess, probably Austin Reeves, because LeBron really likes him, and they had a really good connection together. So I'd probably say Austin Reeves. So, just for lineup purposes, I'd say probably Kyrie, Reeves, LeBron, Davis, and Thomas Bryant will very likely be the starting 5. But if Walker, if he's the most consistent 3-and-D guy, start him. Even if we get Buddy healed, like I don't want Buddy to start because we need defense with Kyrie, LeBron, and you already got the bigs that have the defense and can shoot the shot. So you'd have plenty of spacing. You'd have everything you need. Kyrie could get to the basket. LeBron could get to the basket. Spread the floor. You got size down low. Beautiful, beautiful roster as far as starters go. So I need you to put your most athletic, defensive guy, because Kyrie is not a great defender. LeBron, he can be in small spurts, but night in and night out, not going to be a great defender. So you need somebody that can hold the fort down on the wings, like somebody that can guard Steph. You're never going to shut Steph down, but you need somebody that can get in his chest, make it difficult, stuff like that. That's what I would go with as far as like the starting 5 goes. Dennis here from the Philippines. Well, welcome. I get a lot of people from the Philippines, which is awesome. Big shout outs to the Philippines. I love it. I love seeing it. In your opinion, do you think Bron and Kyrie are in constant communication on what really transpires on the Kyrie trade? I don't know about like constant, I don't think that they're like calling each other every day, like, come on, man, make this happen, that kind of thing. But I definitely think that they had a conversation. I definitely think that they, they had to have, right? Because Kyrie's been in LA. They were supposed to play together at the Drew League on the same team. So they had to have had communication about that. Are you telling me that they had communication about everything except what's going on in this situation? I would be shocked if there was a report that came out and was like Kyrie and LeBron have yet to have a conversation about him really joining, I wouldn't believe it. There's no way, because you gotta, like, they clearly had a discussion. LeBron is pushing heavily for Kyrie Irving. I don't think he would be doing that unless he knew Kyrie Irving wants to be a Laker. I just don't think that's going to be the case. But yeah, I absolutely believe that they have talked. If the Lakers get Kyrie and another shooter, Joe Harris, Seth Curry, or Buddy, who are your top 8 teams in the West? The top would be easy. I think even if we get Kyrie, let's say best case scenario, right? Let's say we end up with Kyrie Irving, let's say Joe Harris and Buddy Hield, right? Like, they make it work, they trade THT in the deals, all that stuff, right? Boom, golden. If that happens, I still think the Lakers probably finish in like the 4 to 6 range. And it's not because I don't think that they are the best team in the West. I just think they're not going to care about their record. Now, if everyone's healthy and everyone, and they're pushing, then yeah, I think that they could probably be a top 3 team in the West. But I think realistically, they're going to prioritize being healthy, getting to the playoffs, than they are seeding. LeBron's going to miss 20 games. Kyrie's probably going to miss 20 games. Anthony Davis is going to miss 20 games. And hopefully it's not all at once, but you figure, hopefully you have at least 2 at all times. And I just think that, my point is they're not going to go and say, oh, let's go win 82 games this year. Like, it's just not going to happen. But I could see them, just like maintaining, like, as long as we're in the top 4 seed, we're good. Like, oh, we're a game and a half out of 4th. Let's go on a little like 3-game run here and make sure we stay in the 4 seed. That's what I think will end up happening with the Lakers. But as far as like early predictions, I think the Lakers, no particular order, just like these are the teams. The Lakers, Suns, I still have questions, but they'll make the playoffs. So Lakers, Suns, Grizzlies, I think the Timberwolves, Mavs, and then this is where it kind of gets tricky, just because I think that there's a lot of teams that could squeeze in. But I think ultimately you'll probably have the Pelicans, especially with the healthy Zion. And then probably looking at the Clippers. I completely forgot about the Clippers. I actually think Clippers are the best team in the league currently as it stands. No pun intended. So there's 7, and then the 8th I think will be like a 3 race between the Kings. I actually really think a lot of people are sleeping on the Kings. I actually really like the Kings roster. They're not a contender or anything like that, but they're going to be really fun to watch. But yeah, so basically, yeah, that's my guess. Are you in California? No, I am in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. That's why I have a gambling addiction. Kind of half joking. Did Kobe have beef with Howard as well? Like they don't like each other. I mean, they did when they were on the team together. I mean, that's notorious. Like that. Yeah, that was something that happened for quite some time. What's going on, Golden Eagle? Appreciate you. How many draft picks do the Celtics have to give up? If I'm the Celtics, I'm doing that trade. Yeah, if I'm the Celtics, I mean, I think at this point you kind of have to. I don't think they're going to have to give up a lot of draft picks, right? So let's look at it like this. Let's break it down as a whole. So Jaylen Brown, how many draft picks do you think Jaylen Brown, if the Celtics tomorrow were like, we're going to rebuild, not saying this is going to happen, but let's just say we're going to rebuild. We need a bunch of draft picks. How many draft picks do you think Jaylen Brown gets? At least 4 firsts, maybe 3 firsts. So let's say 3 firsts. So right there, if you're equating, first round picks as, currency, so let's say Kevin Durant was going to get you 6 first round picks, assuming no players, just like straight up. What are the picks? Let's say 6, maybe 6 to 8. So let's call it 8. Jaylen Brown, let's say, get you 3 or 4, right? So there's half of the picks right there. And then let's say Marcus Smart could probably get you a first. On the right team, he's still young. He just won Defense Player of the Year. Maybe not a high first, but you probably get 15 to 30, something like that. So there's 5 picks there, and then you throw in a JD Davidson, who's, he's a rookie this year, had a nice showing in the summer league. There's the equivalent to another pick, and you throw in like two or three firsts. Boom, there you go. Now you meet the asking price. You don't blow up your team. You're upgrading Jaylen Brown with Kevin Durant. Marcus Smart, yeah, that's a tough loss, but you just got Malcolm Brogdon. Malcolm Brogdon can stay healthy. There's your Marcus Smart replacement. You got Gallo on the wing as a backup, which is good. And you give up JD Davidson, who you didn't have anyway, right? I mean, he's a rookie, he's brand new. And then you're giving up draft picks that aren't going to be very good for you anyway. So I think like if that's what the Celtics end up having to give up, that's a pretty good deal for Kevin Durant. I think that they're the best team in the East at that point. I mean, you still got to worry about like Milwaukee and stuff like that. But I do think Boston, Kevin Durant, Jason Tatum, with everyone else they have, Malcolm Brogdon, Time Lord, if they can keep Grant Williams, you got Gallo, you got some solid players. If you could keep Derek White, even better. Like you'd still be like 7 to 8 guys deep, which come playoff time, that's all you're going to run anyway. So you still end up being 7 to 8 guys deep, and now you upgraded to Kevin Durant. So, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if the Celtics actually did it. I'm aware being patient had been challenging. However, I wanted to point out that 5 years ago, Cavaliers traded Kyrie Irving for Isaiah Thomas. It took place in August. Do you all agree with my point? I've been talking about this on several occasions. I mean, even more recent, like the James Harden trade, right? That was reported like 2 months before it actually happened. A lot of trades get done in August because, teams want to get it done before training camp, so I agree with you. Like, it's just, everything is patience, everything's time. Believe me, I get it. It's frustrating. You're like, come on, just get the deal done. Let's know where we're at. Let's know where we stand. Like, let's just be done with this and move on. Like, I completely get that. It's just, it's one of those things where it's like, patience is key. The Lakers are doing the right thing by just remaining patient. Don't give in to the demands. You're only competing with yourself. So why would you jeopardize that? Feels like everyone is staying on the respective teams. I think it's very likely that Kevin Durant ends up staying. I still think Donovan Mitchell gets traded, and I still think Kyrie Irving gets traded. But you never know. We'll see. We'll see how it all plays out. You never really know with these things. Why do you think people call Kobe the Black Mamba? Like, that was his name. There's an entire documentary. Watch the Black Mamba. It's like a docu thing. I wouldn't say it's like a full documentary, but it's like the origin of the name, and like Kobe's actually talking about it. It sounds much better if he explains it than if I explain it. But yeah, essentially it's the type of snake. What he is, very calm, very cool, and then just strikes. All of those things, just like Kobe. Always level-headed, always cool. Celtics, baby. I love basketball. But when are we talking football? You're killing it with basketball, but I want to hear some of your football takes. Continue success, my friend. Well, thank you so much, Jason. Absolutely. We're going to get into football next month. It's just, there's not a ton. I've talked about some of the big reports. The football videos aren't doing very well, but I understand that. Most of my audience, just because I've talked so much about basketball, most of you are basketball fans. We'll always talk about basketball. Basketball is my bread and butter. It's what I'm most knowledgeable about, but I do have a pretty good footing in football, pretty good understanding, stuff like that. And I don't have a favorite team, so I'm very unbiased when it comes to football. That's probably why I'm pretty good at sports betting football, just because I don't care. I just am like, this is the team that I think is going to win. But yeah, we'll definitely start diving more into football as we ramp up into the season. And then, of course, once the season starts, I want to do live streams. I want to do all kinds of stuff. Come on here, make myself look like an idiot on some like rant because I just lost some money. We'll do all kinds of stuff. It'll be a lot of fun. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to some football. And because we got a lot more people than earlier when I made this announcement, I'm going to try to schedule beginning next month to where I'm constantly streaming at the same time. So I do have As It Stands Lakers. Any Laker fans, go subscribe over there. I believe I have a link in the description of this video, or at least I should. But As It Stands Lakers, go subscribe over there if you're not subscribed over there. I'm going to start. I want to stream every day over there, every day over here. And I'm thinking about 3 p.m. on As It Stands Lakers and 6 p.m. Pacific time here. So 9 p.m. Eastern time, depending on where you're at in the world. So I want to try to stream every day here and on that channel. Obviously, we'll still have random streams, like if, after Laker games, I'll probably, do like a post game live stream over there. like I said earlier, if I'm on a foot, I lose a bunch of money in football, let's come on and I'll talk about how, Tom Brady lost me money and go on some rant and we can all have discussions and talks. So I'll definitely still do random live streams, but I want to like make it more structured. So the people that are always in these live streams, which it is most of you, believe me, I notice who's in these streams and I thank you very much. That way, okay, every day this time, as it stands, going to be on and all that stuff. So I really appreciate it. And of course, while we're here, since we're talking about all this stuff, like this video if you haven't liked this video, and subscribe to this channel if you're not subscribed to this channel. And let's continue with these questions. Also, of course, anybody, I'm sure you know the drill, super chats and live streams. If you need a question answered immediately, or you just have something you want to get out, super chats is the way to do it. Otherwise, I just go in order with the questions. Great reporting. Thank you so much, James. I really appreciate you. Thank you. Did Russell Westbrook design your backdrop? I didn't even think about that. That was a good one. No, I was trying to, I tried to use the As It Stands banner, and it's white. And so it just is very bright. And I just thought it looked weird. And then when it came to, I have another one, we could actually play with these. So this is the white one. And I just think it kind of blends in. I mean, if you guys don't mind it, then fine, I'll use that. And then I have this one. And so that was but I just feel like this one, I feel like they're both really bright. And I just feel like this is more easier to the eyes. But let me know what you think. Let me know in the chat. Which was you like? Here, I'll show you guys one more time, because I don't mind. I mean, obviously I'd rather use the one with the, the name in the background. The white one or this red one. But I just was testing it and I was just it doesn't look like this. I feel is more appeasing to the eyes, if that makes sense. But if I'm Brooklyn, give me at least 5 first picks from the Celtics and it's a deal. I mean, but like I said, like I was saying, is what is Jaylen Brown worth? Jaylen Brown at least worth 4 picks, given that, he's a two-way player, young, all-star type player. He's got to be worth at least 3 to 4 first, especially with the demand of these players so far. I mean, look what Rudy went for. You're telling me a team wouldn't give up at least 4 firsts for Jaylen Brown. So let's say the Nets want 6 firsts, then or let's say they want 8 firsts. Let's say the Nets are we want 8 firsts. Okay, well, Jaylen Brown's worth, like I said, worth at least half of those. Marcus Smart's got to be worth at least 1. So there's, now you're, you got 5, you're 5 away. You give those 2 and you give 3 firsts, and there you go. It's a done deal. Maybe give JD as a little sampler. Here's a young guy on a rookie deal that you could kind of grow and develop under your team. And if, you had a good showing at summer league, maybe that could get the deal done. Westbrook and THT definitely designed that backdrop. Yes, facts. Jaylen Brown shouldn't be in his feelings about trade rumors. I don't know why these players don't know the business of pro sports by now or be okay with it. No, I mean, I do get it, but you gotta understand, I mean, they're still human. They're still guys, Jaylen Brown, the way he's got to be looking at it is I was the only one that showed up. Jason Tatum completely disappeared. I gave you everything. I was single-handedly keeping us in games. I was having 20-point fourth quarters, taking over games, all that stuff. And where was Jason Tatum? I'm the better defender. And in Jaylen Brown's mind, he thinks he's the better player. I mean, I don't think he is, but I believe he believes he is. So I understand it. I don't really blame him for, being in his feelings, but you're right. It is a business. You know how this works. And it's Kevin Durant. If they were trying to trade him for a bag of chips, if they were trying to trade him for Patrick Beverly or something like that, yeah, I'd be a little upset. I'd be dude, really? Or some, a couple pieces or some draft picks or something. I'd be yeah, what are you talking about? But, him being traded for Kevin Durant, a once in a generational type of guy, I don't know. Yeah, you can't be that upset. Westbrook is better than Kyrie all time. I agree with that. I think Westbrook, he's definitely had a better career all time. I think Kyrie Irving might be one of the most, if not the most skilled player we've ever seen. He has just always been unreliable, and that's been the problem. whether it's been injuries or not. I mean, look at Duke. Look when he was at Duke. He played what, one game? Giving up Jaylen Brown is like trading Pippen in his prime. Not very smart. Yeah, but you're getting like if Jaylen Brown is Pippen, then Kevin Durant is Jordan. So that's like trading That's like trading Scottie Pippen in his prime for Kevin Durant. When Jordan won his back half of the second, third rings. So like that's basically the equivalent. Like you would do that if you were any team. Do you think some NBA players are jealous of LeBron's success? 4 championships is no joke. I don't think MJ can even win championships from different teams like LeBron. I mean, I'm sure there's players that are there that that are just like wow. I mean, I don't think so. I think as many players as are jealous, there's as many players that are in awe. I'm sure that there's as many players that think like this dude basically rain hopped and stuff like that. Like, I mean, I'm sure there's a little bit of all of everything, and when it comes to players and how they feel about LeBron James, I'm not giving up Smart. I'd rather do Jaylen, White, Grant Williams, Pritchard, and picks. Problem is, you're not going to get Kevin Durant to get Smart unless you give up Smart. And Smart is he's always just going to be a role player. Like, he's solid, and don't get me wrong, he's definitely the vocal leader on that team, and he provides a lot more than what his stats and stuff show. I completely understand that. But you're talking about Kevin Durant. Like, you give up Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart doesn't provide that much to where it's like that's going to be the deciding factor, and you not getting Kevin Durant. Like, you trade Smart. And you got Malcolm Brogdon, who did the same thing. I mean, I know people look at it and go, well, Marcus Smart won the Defensive Player of the Year. That was a team accomplishment. That wasn't because Marcus Smart was the best defender. There were 15 players or something like that, or 10 players. I was even looking at a stat not too long ago that all had better defensive stats than Marcus Smart, including Mikal Bridges, who many people thought should have won the award. It's just Marcus Smart wasn't the best defender. He wasn't the best individual defender. It's just the Boston Celtics defense was so good last year. You had to give it to somebody. And he was like the heart and soul of that defense, right? I mean, I think Robert Williams was, but he was the vocal leader. He was like the establishment. So yeah, you got to try. Obviously, if you keep Marcus Smart, you keep him. But I think if push comes to shove, like if Marcus Smart is the deciding factor, I think you got to trade him. I think that's what you do. I think you trade him. But what's going on? What's the conference? Appreciate you being here. Yes, Kyrie to the Lakers. I'm with it. This Kyrie, KD, and Westbrook story line should just be a storyline for Scream 6 if I get some views. Hey, it's very entertaining. However you feel about it at the end of the day, it is very entertaining, to say the least. It's at least within it all. We got 136 of you beautiful people in this stream. So real quick, just if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. It really does help out the channel. And subscribe to the channel. We hit 4K subs this month, which is amazing. And obviously, we want to keep it climbing. We're at 4067. Can I get to 4080 at least? If we get to 4100, that'd be even more beautiful, which is only 33 away, and there's 134 of you. So if you're not subscribed, subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it. Oh, sorry, I didn't answer that question. How many NBA jerseys do you own? Which one is your favorite? I don't own any anymore other than a Kobe number 8 jersey, and it's like a real authentic jersey that I have like stashed away. Outside of that, I don't. I used to have a ton of jerseys because I was a 90s kid. I grew up with a 90s kid. You buy all the jerseys, you go to Foot Locker and stuff, you buy the jersey, hand it on. And then I was shoe head, all that stuff, rock the Jordans, the Nike SBs, all that shit stuff, like the dunk SB dunks and stuff. And then a lot of that stuff, like my jerseys and stuff, ended up getting stolen, and I just never took the time to replace them over the years. And now I'm, just it's like, why spend the money, personally? But yes, it would be a shame if Marcus Smart gets traded, but it's Kevin Durant. Yeah, exactly. It's Kevin Durant we're talking about here, and Jaylen Brown needs to get out of his feelings. Absolutely. And like I said, if Marcus Smart is the deciding factor in this trade, you trade Marcus Smart. Like if the Nets are like, we'll do this deal if you throw in Marcus Smart, like whatever the deal is. But if they're like, if you swap, whatever, Grant Williams with Marcus Smart, we'll do this deal. You do that. You do whatever it takes. Even if you have to throw, even if they're like, that's great, the package like the one earlier where it's like say Pritchard, Grant Williams, stuff like that. Even if they're like we want all of them and we want Marcus Smart, you do that. Like because you're still going to be deep enough, you're still going to be good enough, and you're getting Kevin Durant. Like we're 100% getting Kyrie Irving. I wouldn't say 100% just because I'm not one of those people that believes anything is 100% until like it actually happens. But I think it's very high. And I do think if the Lakers don't get him this year, we definitely get him next year in free agency. But just kind of my thoughts on it. Why Nets take down Brown when he can opt out his last year of his contract in year one? It's not about like the concern is that he won't sign an extension, so therefore he's leaving. That's not the case. If he signs the extension, he's leaving money on the table. And it was kind of the same thing with DeJounte Murray. Like, like why did the Spurs trade him for a bag of chips? And it's like because we're a rebuilding team and he's an all-star and he will probably leave. Where when it comes to Brown, he's probably not going to leave because one, the Celtics still be able to have him or give him the most money, and two, he would be on a contender. The concern is now, will he leave now that he's in his feelings and he's upset that they're trying to trade him? Now that becomes a big concern, and that's why I think personally they're almost in a position where they have to trade. They have to try to get Kevin Durant. Personally, you never know, but I just think like now you might never get the opportunity to get a guy like Kevin Durant, and if he leaves you in 2 years, you're in trouble. But I don't think they're like the idea was Jaylen Brown. He's not going to sign the extension because you only get a certain percentage as far as the max goes in an extension. But if he opts out and signs a new deal, then he gets more money. So it's just about not leaving money on the table is all it is. But we got a super chat coming in hot. Pimp named Slickback. What is going on? Appreciate you so much for the $5 super chat. Can someone explain to Sun fans on Twitter that they're not getting KD? Why would the Nets choose Bridges and Johnson over Jaylen Brown? I'm with you. And even at this point, they're basically out of the running, at least for any time soon. You're right. I mean, obviously, I would rather have Jaylen Brown too than in that deal than Bridges and Johnson. But even if they did, like the Suns can't really make that deal anymore because they have to include Ayton, and Ayton. He has veto power over any deal until the season is over, until that next season is over. And he can't even be traded till January. Let me add that in there too. So let's say, for whatever reason, let's say that the Nets liked, Cam Johnson and Bridges and Ayton over Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, and Derek White, right? Let's say that was the case. They were like, hey, we actually like the Suns deal better. We think Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson could be better than okay, cool. That's great. They can't do the deal till January at the earliest. And on top of that, what if DeAndre Ayton says, I'm not going to the Nets. I want to go to the team that I signed with, which was the Indiana Pacers. So I'm not going to sign with them. And then therefore, that's it. Deal's done until the following season. So yeah, unfortunately, the probability of the Phoenix Suns getting any deal for Kevin Durant is pretty much done. Again, I don't like to say anything's 100%, but it's pretty close. Pretty close. But thank you so much again for the $5 super chat. I really appreciate that. Seriously. Thank you. Let's see. 3-way deal. Brown to the Heat, Durant to the Celtics, and Smart to the Nets and picks. But why would they do that when they could just get Smart and like when the Heat could just get Smart and Brown themselves? Like I don't that would be my problem. Is like why do the Nets need the Heat? Like to get a couple more picks? I would rather have Jaylen Brown than a couple picks. Do you hate it when people say the Eastern? I'm assuming Eastern Conference. No, not really. I mean, I don't care either way. I mean, it also depends on context and what they're referencing and stuff like that. But yeah, I love the content, man. Well, thank you so much, Brian. I really appreciate you. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch me. I really do. Thank you. Thank you. All of you. All of you. Thank you so very much for, spending time a little with me, talking about some stuff, answering some questions, having some fun, all of that jazz. And again, hit that subscribe button. Show me some love. I'd appreciate it. And if you haven't hit that like button, hit that like button. Do you think Kyrie plus Buddy Hield or Seth Curry makes the Lakers clear Western Conference Finals bound? I personally think so, yes, assuming everyone's healthy. If everyone's healthy, Kyrie, Buddy Hield, even if you don't get Buddy Hield, I still think that the Lakers are. I mean, we just saw the Dallas Mavericks in the Western Conference Finals. And, I'm not saying Dallas isn't a good team, but they're not Kyrie, LeBron, and Anthony Davis good. And not just that, but like nobody in the Western Conference this year, even the Warriors, like none of them were world beaters. Like none of them were Kevin Durant on the Warriors good. Like they all looked very beatable. So I do. I think if you end up getting Kyrie Irving, I just think that you're the best team in the East or in the West. I mean, you can make the argument the best team in the entire NBA. I would still worry about the Clippers. I'm not going to lie. I really think the Clippers on paper are the best team in the league this year. Problem is, are the Clippers going to clip themselves like they always do? And can Kawhi Leonard and Paul George stay healthy, which they've been unable to do? So I just, when it comes to the Clippers, my thing is like, I just don't believe in you until you prove me wrong. Like every time that it looks like they're going to be good and every time it looks like they're going to win the NBA Finals and every time it looks like, man, this team is great, they end up falling apart. And I just can't believe in them until they actually show me that they can win. So, I just think, and I still like our odds if we get Kyrie Irving. Now, if we get Kyrie Irving and Buddy Hield or Seth Curry or both, then yeah, I think it's a home run. I mean, I think even if we like worst case scenario, let's say we end up getting the Buddy Hield and Miles Turner deal, I still think we're probably at worst a top 3 team in the West. Again, I still think that they probably finish in like the 4 or 5 seed. Just because I don't think they're going to care about the record, it's just about getting healthy. But if you get Buddy Hield and Miles Turner, I think you're still, Clippers and Warriors. I think you can make the only argument that are undoubtedly better than them, or at least somewhat better than them. And the Lakers would be, in my opinion, the 3rd best team. And that's just because chemistry, things like that, and just the Clippers are very deep. As much as it pains me to say, they're like 15 players deep. Like at some point they need to like consolidate some of those players and go get like mid-tier guys, but that's neither here nor there. So I think no matter like what deal you end up, I think you're one of the top teams in the league. So yeah. Heat give 3 picks to the Nets and Celtics 3 picks, total 6 picks to the Nets. It's a 3-way deal. Yeah, but the problem is like the Nets don't need picks because all the picks are going to be too high. And the Nets are in a very unique situation where they cannot tank. The Nets don't own any of their picks. The Houston Rockets own all of their picks and pick swaps. So if they end up trying to tank and like, let's say they go get 8 picks, they don't have any of their own picks. So they can't do a deal like that. That's why their asking price is so high, because they need players that can compete. That's why they want a guy like Jaylen Brown, because they still need to be good. And I mean, and realistically, like you want to talk about a 3-team deal. Like if you're the Nets, you could include the Lakers and you'd hit a home run. Because I mean, so look, let's break this down for a minute here. So you want to talk about a 3-team Laker deal here, if you want to talk about 3-team deals. So, right, if you're the Nets, you do the deal. Kevin Durant for, let's say, Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, let's say, J.D. Davidson, and 5 firsts, whatever. Make up your pick for that, okay? So you got that deal. So basically you're getting Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart. That's the key, right? You already have Ben Simmons. So now you have Marcus Smart, Seth Curry, Jaylen Brown, and Ben Simmons, right? And Nick Claxton as your 5. If I'm the Nets, I'm calling the Lakers and I'm saying, hey, we don't want a 1st-round pick anymore. What we want is Miles Turner. According to you, the deal is on the table 2 first-round picks, 2 firsts for Buddy Hield and Miles Turner. Go get that deal. Bring Miles Turner to us. And then we'll trade you Kyrie Irving for Miles Turner and like a couple second-round picks. And now the Nets just leverage Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving into Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, let's say JD. Sorry about that. Actually pulled my cord out. So I was saying, like, you basically leveraged Kyrie, Kevin Durant into Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, JD Davidson, bunch of first-round picks, and Miles Turner. So now your starting five is Marcus Smart, Seth Curry or Joe Harris, whoever, Jaylen Brown, Ben Simmons, and Miles Turner. That is you're still one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference. You're still a really good team in the Eastern Conference. I don't think you're a contender, but I think you're at least a top 5 team. You're better. I think that team's better than the team we saw last year, and that was with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. So however you shake it, they could actually end up with a really good, like a really good team. So that's the problem, is they're in a very unique situation. They can't tank. They're not like Utah. Utah could blow it up. They own all their own picks, and they're getting back a bunch of picks. So all you need to do is hit on like 2 or 3 picks, and now you can trade the rest of them and go get another star or 2, and you're good, right? So that's the problem with the Nets. Sorry, I had to retract that because I was typing too fast. I was going to say this. Do you hate when people okay, here we go. Say the Eastern Conference is weak, and that's why LeBron makes the finals every year? Not really. I mean, the Eastern Conference is a lot better now than it's ever been, or not ever been, but in the most recent years. I mean, if you're being honest, like, who was really that good in the Eastern Conference back when LeBron was on his crazy run? I mean, Toronto had like the best record in the league, like for like a handful of those seasons. Same thing with Atlanta, and both of those teams got swept by LeBron. I think like, okay, look at it like this. Outside of last year, actually, I think I have the thing here. I'll actually read it to you. I saw this not too long ago, and I was actually going to post about this. Let me see if I can find it. Bear with me for 1 second. It was a LeBron stat that I was like, that is interesting. Where is it at? Darn it. Maybe I saved it on my other thing. Darn it. Anyway, it was like a stat that was like, ever since LeBron left the Eastern Conference, a different team or something like that has made it out every year since, or something crazy like that. So I mean, there's been diversity, is the point that I'm trying to make. Like, it's been interesting, but no, I mean, it doesn't fully. Yeah, I can't find the photo, and I don't want to spend an hour trying to find it. But yeah, I mean, there's definitely something to be said that it wasn't the greatest conference at the time. Like, the West was definitely stronger, but it's flipped tremendously. And you could make the argument that part of that is because LeBron left, right? Because now players, like, there's players that have gone to the East Coast because, like, LeBron's not there anymore, so let me get out of here. Like, and then there's teams that have just built and been more aggressive because they're like, LeBron's not in the East anymore. Like, now's our chance. It really opened the floodgates for a lot of teams to be able to, make an effort to improve their teams in the East since LeBron left. So, yeah, darn it, I can't find that. I had to have saved it somewhere, but anyway, we'll move on. But yeah, it was some interesting stat that I saw that I thought I saved it to my phone the other day. But what do you think about the Heat getting KD? So the Heat are officially out of the race for Kevin Durant. I made a video about it yesterday. There was a report came out. The Heat came from the Heat that they're proceeding as usual. They're under the impression that their team is going to be the team that they have right now, and the Nets don't like anything that they have to offer because they don't like. What do they really have to get Kevin Durant level? They don't have a ton of picks. If they get Kevin Durant, the picks aren't going to be worth anything. They can't trade Bam. They're not going to trade Jimmy. The Nets don't want Kyle Lowry on a 4-year terrible contract. Tyler Hero, he's great, but he's not Jaylen Brown great. And then outside of that, you don't have any, like, who else they want? Vincent, Strus, no, it's just, yeah. So it makes sense. I don't think that they were ever in the race for KD to begin with, if I'm being honest. They've been officially pulled out. Um, Odds on Lakers getting Kyrie and Boston getting Kevin Durant, and they battle in the finals for number 18. The TV ratings will be through the roof. Big Kev, I am with you. I've been preaching that. Even in my live stream yesterday, I was ranting and raving about that. I mean, just think of the storyline. Think of it. I mean, you have the two buddies, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, were just on the same team. They end up meeting in the finals. Kyrie's playing against his old team and the Boston Celtics, meeting in the finals. The Lakers and Celtics rivalry, meeting in the finals. LeBron James and his history with the Celtics, meeting in the finals. The showdown for banner number 18 to end the tiebreaker. Can't write a better story. Like, I can't wait for that 30 for 30 when that, if this ends up happening. But I mean, as far as like odds go, I think Kyrie, I think he's more likely. I still am like 60-70% that he goes to the Lakers this season. And KD, I'm kind of 50-50 on. I think it just depends on how far is Boston willing to go, which, according to reports, Boston believes that Kevin Durant is the missing piece for them to win a finals. So if you really believe that, like if you really believe we are a Kevin Durant away from winning an NBA championship, don't you think you do whatever you can to go get Kevin Durant? So he can't put up a good player or more than 3 picks. They just, that's the problem. They just don't have that. LeBron just wants some of that Kyrie facts. Westbrook is not better than Kyrie. Sorry. I think he's had a better career. Like I said, I think Kyrie might be the best, most skilled player, one of the most skilled players we've ever seen. He just is unreliable. I mean, Westbrook's had the better individual career. Imagine the Brooklyn Nets with Smart, Brown, and Simmons defense. That's my point. Like I said, imagine, like, realistically, the Brooklyn Nets could flip Kevin Durant, get that trade, and then flip Kyrie Irving for Miles Turner, and you'd have like one of the best defensive teams in the league. Like, seriously, you'd be like a stop defense in the league, and you'd still be really good. I still think, like, if they were able to pull that off, even if they aren't able to get Miles Turner, right? Even if they just trade Kyrie Irving, for whatever, DHT and some stuff, whatever. Like, I still think that they would be one of the top 5 teams in the Eastern Conference. Yeah. Why do you think people say Laker fans are toxic? No, I'm a diehard Laker fan as well. I don't think we're that cocky. There's some. I think it's a combination of things. I think one, Laker fans have been privileged in many ways to constantly. Lakers always seem to get their guy. History has always shown you're winning. You're constantly winning. We've won in every age. So people that are, whether you're 60 or you're 16, you've been alive when the Lakers have won a championship. So I think it's just that mentality. And I think that, Lakers also have so many haters too, like just blatant haters, that it kind of drives the narrative. And then it makes like some fans even more like hyped and over the top. And, and of course, I mean, all fans, all organizations have toxic fans. Every organization has, fans that believe that they're, like there's some, like, I can't tell you the comments when I was talking about Kevin Durant being traded for Mikal Bridges, people talking about how Mikal Bridges is the next Michael Jordan and stuff, like why would you trade Kevin Durant for Mikal Bridges? Mikal Bridges, it could end up being better than Kevin Durant. Like, you're going to get it. You have the good fans, you have the bad fans. But it's everything. It's just like anything. Just like, like even content creators, you see content creators, they have toxic fans and they have, normal, like, fanfare fans. Like, it's just how there is. There's always going to be the extremes one way or the other. Durant's points per game, 23. Tatum's 25. Durant is getting old. Brown outplayed Tatum. You trade Brown for Tatum. The difference is 3 points per game. Not worth the trade. It's more than that, though. Like, in a nutshell, yeah, you're kind of right. But if you look at the full scope of stuff, one, Durant's 26 is a lot more efficient than Brown's 23. Like, Durant can get 26 points on like 12 shots, where it'll take Brown 25 shots, and just the more natural fluid score. Not just that, but Brown's had a lot of trouble dribbling the ball. Like, if you watch those playoffs, he's not a very good ball handler. Kevin Durant has a much easier time getting his own shot, creating his own shot, It's efficiency. It's things like that. Brown did outplay Tatum, but Tatum's the better player. And I honestly, and I've said this, if you could trade Tatum and keep Brown, I would personally. And it's not that because I think that Brown's the better player. I just think Brown gives you stuff that Tatum doesn't. And Tatum and KD are very similar personality wise and player wise. And I just think you lose that vocal leader. You lose a lot of things when it comes to that. But it's not just in a nutshell. It's not just like, oh, it's only 3 points. No, you're talking about like if Durant gets the same amount of shots that Brown gets, Durant's probably putting up 40, based on efficiency and stuff like that. And just, the type of threat, things like that. There's a lot that goes into it. In your opinion, do the Lakers get Kyrie Irving? I do. In my opinion, I do. I really think if it's not this year, I think it's next year. I just don't see the Nets keeping Kyrie. I mean, all signs, all reports, even the report today talked about how the Nets don't want Kyrie and they don't believe he's going to change. And so you're talking about all of they clearly don't want him. Joe Sias came out and talked about it. Like it just all signs point to Kyrie Irving. And the problem is that if the Nets don't trade Kyrie Irving and Kyrie Irving walks, the Nets cannot replace him. The Nets are still over the cap because they got Ben Simmons on a max, Kevin Durant on a max, and they have Joe Harris making like $19 million the following year. So like if the Nets were able to let Kyrie walk and have $36 million in cap space, then sure, who cares? Like, yeah, it sucks. You're losing them for nothing, but hey, we can always get a new player. They literally cannot. So it's like, what do you do if you're Brooklyn? Do you hope Kyrie, works out? Maybe you win a championship and maybe Kyrie stays, but based on the last 3 years, you've won one playoff series in the 3 years that you've had Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving together. And you just got swept in the last series. And you don't even know if Ben Simmons is going to play. So it's like what do you do if you're the Nets? Like at some point you got to trade Kyrie Irving. And once training camp starts, now you've lost all your leverage because like let's say they go into the season with Kyrie Irving and it becomes a total disaster. Now they're in big trouble because now you're going to go back to the Lakers and say, hey, we're willing to do the deal now. The Lakers are going to be like, no, we ain't giving you first round picks. You're not going to get THT and Kendrick Nunn. That's why I think it ultimately ends up happening. Dwayne Washington Jr., the guard, Indiana waived for the deal with Brogdon to go through. I would like the Lakers to take a look at him. I wouldn't mind him either. I wouldn't mind that. The Lakers, they got Huff and they signed somebody else. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. They got somebody else on a 10-day exhibit. They're not like full contracts. But I wouldn't be surprised if Huff gets a shot to realistically make the roster. I could see something like that happening. But yeah, Lakers, Kyrie, I'm with you. Who is the current biggest whiner per possession in the NBA? Luka? Yeah, Luka hands down. Luka is hands down. And that's saying something because there's a lot of them. It's a reason the Celtics got Malcolm Brogdon. Marcus Smart is the heart and soul of the team. But hey, yeah, exactly. I mean, you get Brogdon, Marcus Smart becomes replaceable. 200% Kyrie Irving, Lakers. This is going to Lakers this year. I think so too. Like I said, I really do. I really believe that Kyrie Irving, it's a matter of when, not if, will end up being a Laker. The longer this plays out, I think he forces his way to Phoenix, where he wants to play with Book. They have a good package they don't want. The problem is they might not even be able to trade him this year. You need a lot of things to go right. One, you can't trade him until January. Two, you need Ayton to agree to go to the Nets, and we don't know if he's willing to do that because he literally has veto power. So they could put the package together. The deal could be ready to sign. Boom, pen to paper. Let's make it happen. Let's do this. Both sides agree. They're getting ready to sign, and Ayton's like, I'm not going to the Nets. Then there goes that trade. So that's the problem too. I bet the devil, my soul. I want 2 more lives for my soul. I've got to live forever. Miami Heat will be hard to beat in the playoffs, bearing any injuries to its players. I mean, it depends on who you get. If the Celtics get, they're definitely going to be a hard team to beat. They're definitely a solid team. But they clearly need scoring. Like, how many more times can Jimmy Butler do what he did? Like, single-handedly, like, carry them. You know, Raptors, Celtics have assets to get KD. Raptors is who I think is going to get KD. The problem is they don't want to trade Scotty Barnes, and if they don't trade Scotty Barnes, I don't see them getting Kevin Durant, because at that point, if you trade, let's say you trade OG Anunoby and you trade Pascal Siakam, now I don't think you're a contender. You know, I don't think Scotty Barnes and Kevin Durant make you a contender. KD or no KD, Miami will be the team to beat. I still think Milwaukee's better than them, personally. Ray Allen left the Celtics for the Heat. This is a repeat of the Celtics fumbling the bag. Brown goes to the Heat. He will get a ring. The problem is that they can't. How are they going to get Brown? Like, that's the problem. How do they get Brown? But it's not about the Nets want. It's about what KD wants. Superstars get what they want. They do, but this is also unprecedented. Usually when players like Anthony Davis, Ben Simmons, like all these guys, like usually when players ask to be traded, there's usually a year or two left on their deal. Like, when has a superstar had 4 years left on their deal and asked for a trade and got their way? You know, I mean, Ben Simmons did his thing, but they were able to get, the Sixers were able to get James Harden. So it's like, yeah, we'll do that deal. But and they waited like 2 months for the deal to happen. That's the difference. Is if Kevin Durant was on like a 1 or 2 year deal, I think that this would be a very different conversation. But it's like he's on 4 years and they don't have to trade him. And what is Kevin Durant going to do? Kevin Durant's not the kind of guy to just sit out and not play. Like, you know, like Kyrie is. I can see Kyrie doing that, but Kevin Durant, I don't see him doing that. What's going on, Jed? I appreciate you being here. Evening. I still believe the Lakers will trade for Irving, but once LeBron is gone, Irving will freak out and be himself once again. Good thing is, if you get Kyrie Irving, you probably still got like 2 or 3 more years of LeBron. So worst case scenario, you probably only have like 1 more year of Kyrie Irving if LeBron leaves. So it wouldn't be that bad. Lakers will be out in the first round. That's the sad reality. I don't know. I mean, right now, maybe. Can't rule out Anthony Davis and LeBron James healthy. Just can't. Stats are stats. Stats lie when you consider synergy to the context. Yeah, absolutely. Stats don't tell everything. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of players that offer a lot more than their stats. You know, hustle, grind, defense. You know, just being that chemistry player. All the cogs, things like that. What's going on, Jim? Appreciate you. Thank you. Russ numbers are severely inflated, but I give him credit for his accolades. Yeah, I mean, yeah, some of those triple doubles were definitely inflated. What is your percentage of Kyrie actually being a Laker? Currently, like right now, say about 60-70% this season. If he doesn't sign this season, I say it's about like at this very moment, about 90% that he signs with the Lakers next season. But right now, to actually trade for him this season, yeah, about 60-70%. Warriors, Clippers, Nuggets, and Suns, even Grizzlies will hands down beat the Lakers. West did get stronger. I still don't believe in the Nuggets, but you know, you never know. Warriors and Clippers, I have concerns about. The Suns, not really worried about the Suns. I mean, the Lakers should have beaten this very Suns team, and Anthony Davis got hurt, so I'm not really worried about them. And Chris Paul is a big question mark. And Grizzlies, I think that could go either way. So give you about half of them that as of right now. Now, if the Lakers get Kyrie or they do the Hield and Turner trade, then yeah, I think the only teams you got to worry about are the Warriors and Clippers. Laughing at the Clippers who can't stay healthy. I mean, it's just true. You know, like I said, on paper, they are the best team in the NBA. I just don't believe that they're going to be able to pull it off because they've always proven that they can't. They have been on paper one of, if not the best team for the last several seasons, and they just can't do it. I mean, even when they were, you know, when you had Lob City and stuff like that, there was like a 3 to 5 year stretch where they were the best team in the league, and they just couldn't do it. They couldn't get out of the second round. Which pair of trades would you like to happen in a vacuum? Kyrie Irving, Seth Curry, Kyrie Irving and Joe Harris, Buddy Hield, Miles Turner, or Kyrie Irving and Buddy Hield. In order, Kyrie Irving and Seth Curry would be my favorite, just because you have the cap flexibility. Next would be Kyrie and Buddy. Then it would be Kyrie and Joe Harris, and then Buddy Hield and Miles Turner. Just because I think any scenario where you get Kyrie Irving is better than Buddy Hield and Miles Turner. But I don't think Buddy Hield and Miles Turner is a bad consolation prize. Like, I don't think that that's like, oh no, I can't believe we got stuck with Buddy Hield and Miles Turner. So, but yeah, what if the Celtics turn around and ask the Nets for Patty Mills or Cam Thomas? Depending on what they're willing to give up, I don't think it's impossible, especially Patty Mills. I could see the Nets moving off of Patty Mills. Cam Thomas might be a little tough because he's young. He's their guy. He was great for them in summer league, and he just looks like he's such a good scorer. I don't think they'd want to trade Cam Thomas. Patty Mills, I definitely think they could acquire if they really wanted to. Russ is past his prime. AD is injury prone. LeBron cannot carry this team. Well, the idea is to trade Russ. AD, as much as people like to say AD is injury prone, he's played more games than half of the stars in this league over the last 3 years. If you think I'm wrong, look it up. I've actually named the list before in live stream, so just saying. Kyrie Irving and Buddy Hield, yes, absolutely. Do you use those greens while recording your videos? The green screens, yes. That's what I have. That's what I have behind me. I have a green screen hanging on the wall behind me. Cool. Paul George and Kawhi Leonard are both injury prone. Absolutely. Oh, okay. At least you admitted, like, if Lakers get Kyrie Irving, that's another story. Okay, then yeah, we are on the same page. Have you seen Kyrie's new tweet? Go check Kyrie's new tweet, bro. Kyrie's new beginning. I have not yet. I'll have to check that out here shortly. I haven't even gotten a notification for that, which is interesting. But yeah, I'll check it out after the stream. I don't want to be rude to the people I have here. Kyrie and Buddy would fit perfectly. I guess I can dream. I mean, that's what the Lakers are trying to pull off. They're trying to pull off Buddy Hield and Kyrie Irving. That's like their goal here. Kyrie to the Lakers soon? I hope so. Kyrie's new tweet. Everyone's talking about the new tweet. That's interesting. Yeah, I'll have to look into it, and we'll get a video up here shortly. We'll round out the live stream. If somebody has the tweet, if somebody knows what the tweet is, put it in the chat for me. I'll take a look at it as we get through this. The Nets understand if Kyrie and KD are on their team, they are one of the favorites to win it all, so long as COVID doesn't get in the way. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. It's just, will they? And you got to understand, they've both. I mean, Kevin Durant's played 90 games in the last 3 seasons. 90. Like, that's not a good sign. And look at the comments too. What if LeBron walks? I'm not worried about LeBron walking. Where's he going to go? Like, seriously. Like, and I don't mean that, like, candidly. Like, any team that could sign him outright aren't going to want to sign him, or he's not going to want to go to, because they're all rebuilding teams. And then any team that could trade for him, what are they going to be willing to give up for a 39-year-old LeBron James? Because they have to match salaries, and you're talking to sign and trade, which means they're hard capped. So what team in the NBA is going to give up a bunch of assets to go and trade for LeBron James, and on top of that, get themselves hard capped? So they not only do they have to give up a bunch of stuff to get LeBron, but they also can't give up anything that makes them not a contender with LeBron, because they'd be hard capped and they wouldn't be able to add anybody else. So that's the problem. What else we got? Laker fans are spoiled. Yeah, that's basically what I was saying earlier. Yeah, they're spoiled. That is true. The Nets have no choice but to trade Kyrie. I mean, that's kind of my point. Yeah, I mean, because they can't replace him. And if he leaves, like, do you really believe he's going to stick around? Like, like that's what you're gambling on. That one, the Kyrie situation works this year, and two, after the season's over, he sticks around and decides to play ball. I just don't see it, especially because the Nets aren't going to want to give him a max. So the Nets understand KD doesn't want to go to Boston, so they made the Celtics trade request public so that KD retracts his trade request. I mean, well, it hasn't worked so far, if that's the case. NBA just lucky Michael B. Jordan has the effects. Michael B. Jordan's coming in, changed the fate of the Lakers. If the Celtics give up Bron Smart, Robert Williams 3 first, it will get done. I think so too. I think so too, especially if they give up Robert Williams. I think that's a done deal. I just think if you're the Celtics, you keep Robert Williams, even though there's a lot of questions about him, especially about him going to the health. Sorry, I got an alert and I was trying to see if it was the tweet, but I haven't gotten anything personally. Boston isn't going to trade for a player that doesn't want to play for them. But who's to say Durant doesn't want to? He was going to sign with them in 2016, so he obviously considered going there before. Will Kyrie come to the Lakers if LeBron walks? I mean, if Kyrie's willing to come to the Lakers, LeBron isn't going to walk. I'm sure that would be established. I think it'll be like, go get me Kyrie or I'm leaving type thing. Is probably what happens. Yeah, exactly. LeBron didn't go to the Lakers for basketball reasons. He just did it. He just, that wasn't his reasoning for there. Lakers need to keep Nunn and forget about Hield. I'm with you. I don't know why the Lakers want Buddy Hield so badly. I just doesn't make sense to me. And I think Kendrick Nunn offers you so much more. He shot a better 3-point percentage the last time he played, and he's a consistent 15 to 20 point a game guy. He could be our Kyrie light. I'm not saying they're the same player or that, Kyrie isn't better than Kendrick Nunn. He absolutely is. But a lot of the stuff that Kyrie gives you, Kendrick Nunn gives you the same thing. That high shooting percentage, be able to get his own shot, create his own shot, get to the basket, all of that stuff. At the end of the day, Nets are keeping the team. It's best for them. Probably Lakers will have to figure it out. I mean, it's something you can't rule out. I think Kyrie's gone no matter what. I do. I think that they get rid of Kyrie either way. Durant, Kyrie, and Simmons will be tough to beat. It would be, but here's the question. Is Ben Simmons and Kyrie Irving even going to play? Because, that's a serious question too. We don't even know if Ben Simmons is going to play. And then Kyrie Irving, like that could go sideways very fast. What kind of season do you see Austin Reeves having? I think he's going to have a very solid season. I think he's always just going to be a role player, but I definitely think he's going to be an improvement over last year. I hope his 3-point shot gets better. He's bulked up and gotten stronger, so I imagine he's going to be a better defender. I want to see him be that solid glue guy. A lot of the, like what Caruso was. I want to see Reeves kind of play that role. That just tough, hard nose, willing to get at it, can knock down the open shot, can be a contributor. Yeah, alongside LeBron, I'm with you. Why won't the Nets trade Kyrie before KD if KD doesn't want to be there, if Kyrie doesn't want to be there? Multitude of reasons. One, your hope is you trade KD and then more teams jump into the Kyrie Irving trade. Two, right now you don't have a bunch of suitors for Kyrie Irving. You only have the Lakers. So it's like, the idea is like you trade Kevin Durant. Now, hopefully, like say Kevin Durant goes to Boston. Does a team like Miami go, oh man, they got Kevin Durant now, like we should upgrade our roster, and maybe they, trade Tyler Hero and like 2 firsts for Kyrie Irving because they, are willing to take a shot on him for a year. Like that's probably better than anything the Lakers could give. So it's like, like that's kind of the hope. It's just kind of waiting around, see what dominoes fall with the Kevin Durant trade. It's about what Nets want. KD can sit. He'll be 34 next year. Precious years for someone going in the last. I don't think Kevin Durant will sit. Kyrie's the guy that will sit, but I don't think Kevin Durant It's that kind of guy. Um, the flippers always flop. Yeah, that's my problem. Until you prove that you can, you know, do the right thing. Hang on, we got a bot in the chat. Here, let me. There we go. There we go. And they're gone. There we go. But where were we? Hang on, hang on, bear with me 1 second. I just want to make sure that those bots, um, there we go. Boom. Blucka, if you're still in the chat, you got the magic blue wrench now. So do me a solid, my friend. But where were we? This. What I really want besides the Westbrook trade is an AD trade if he doesn't get hurt again. I'm tired of this if AD stays healthy story. Years ago, I wanted Nets Jared Allen. As a Laker, didn't happen. Yeah, I mean, I hope. Look, he was like, what happened last year was something that was a fluke. I mean, you can't control somebody rolling into your ankle. Like, he was healthy up until that point. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's had his injuries, but so is like half the superstars in this league. Like I said, Anthony Davis, as much as like people say like Anthony Davis is this, that, and the other, he's still, he's still played more games than half of the stars in this league. He's played more than Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Ben Simmons, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving. Like, a lot of these guys, he's played more games than the last several years. So, but you need him. He's such an important factor that you need him to be effective. What else? Y'all Laker fans better take the Clippers seriously. I do. Like I said, I mean, on paper, they're the best team in the league, in my opinion. I just, like I said, until you prove me otherwise, I can't believe in you. I mean, how many times over the last like 10 plus years have we talked about this is the year for the Clippers, this is the year for the Clippers, this is the year for the Clippers, and they just don't even make it out of the second round. It's just what else we got? If Kyrie wants to leave or the Nets didn't want him, he probably would be long gone. Nets don't need more novels. They want a solid team. I mean, it's such, but like, what's the rush? Like both of those could be true. Okay, let's say it's the opposite. You can make the argument for the opposite. Let's say Kyrie wants to stay with the Nets and the Nets want Kyrie Irving. How come neither side has said that? How come Kyrie Irving hasn't came out publicly and said, I'm staying with the Nets. I want to be a Net. I want to stay with the Nets. This is what's going to happen. How come that hasn't happened? How come the Nets haven't came out and said, regardless of what happens with Kevin Durant, we're keeping Kyrie Irving? Why hasn't that happened? Because they want to trade him. They don't need to rush. They have a month and a half. Like, why do you need to hurry? If you're the Nets, you're hoping Lakers get desperate or another team comes out of the woodworks that drives up the price. Like, those are your two options here. Like, once you trade him, that's it. There's no more like, what will tomorrow bring? What will tomorrow bring? What will tomorrow bring? Right now, the Nets still have like, tomorrow's a new day. Maybe something happens tomorrow. Hey, you never know. Like, that's how this works. I believe Kyrie will come just right before trade camp. I think so too. I think it'll happen. I think within the next like 3 weeks or so, we'll probably hear Kyrie Irving. The reason why is because Irving won't show up to the Nets training camp, nor will Westbrook to Lakers camp. That's also a very big possibility. Tweet is a full moon. Is there actually really a tweet, or is that just somebody trolling in the chat? That's what I want to know. But yeah. Anyway, Lakers' chance to get Kyrie was right after the extension problems. This waiting will backfire. Sometimes you have to go and make it happen. The problem is that the asking price was higher then than it is now. The Nets have already caved. The Nets have already came down. the Lakers will be good with or without Kyrie. I think they will too. Assuming everyone's healthy, I think they'll be okay. Kyrie is going to LA. I think so too. I do, Tony. I really do. How many games did Kawhi and Paul George play together over the last 3 years? I'm not sure off the top of my head, but it's not a lot. It's probably like 90 games or something like that. As long as AD stays healthy, we will be tough. I agree. AD is always the factor, but he doesn't move the needle for me. He doesn't move the needle for me either. I really don't know why they have this desire to go get him. Yeah, he's not worth the money. Ben Simmons got to play. Bro, he wants $30 million. What is talking about? I mean, you could have said the same thing last year, and look how that worked out. Piss me off. AD should be playing good. Yeah, I mean he should. I mean we'll see. We'll see what kind of AD we get this season. But the paper clips will be what they are. Exactly. I'm with you, bro, Stan. Yeah. It just like I said, until you prove me wrong or prove me otherwise, I just can't believe you're going to get it done. LeBron and AD both injured. So bad to see the Lakers play. Yeah, I mean, if they, like I said, if they can stay healthy, they should be good. I mean, they're both going to miss 20 plus games this season, but if they're healthy come playoff times, like you can't rule out a LeBron James and AD duo. The curse is real with them. What will go wrong will go wrong for the paper clips. Yeah, I think so too. Sorry, give me one second. We got more of these. There we go. The spam bots are now gone. There we go. Perfect. Kyrie says the world is flat. Do you agree? No, I do not. The world is not flat. The dipper is going to dippers. Yeah, all this ditch is good for the Nets, I guess. You can monopolize all the talks. You can turn it into something or not. I mean, at least it makes them a point of discussion, right? Kyrie was at Phil Handy's camp. Yes, that's very true. But I don't look too much into that, if I'm being honest, because they've had a relationship from their Cleveland Cavaliers days. Anthony Davis going to work out with Shea Wallace all next summer. I wouldn't be against it. He's working with the lethal sniper, so when will LeBron sign his contract extension? I personally didn't think he would sign a contract extension, period. I think he's going to do what he did with the Cavs, which is just going to be 1-for-1 deals until he decides to either go play with the Sun or retire a Cav. So, I mean, granted, he could sign an extension that's a 1-for-1, but you're better off waiting and leaving it alone and then just kind of leaving it at that, you know? Because then you have more cap flexibility. Imagine if the Pacers acquired LeBron and KD. They get the chip, and we're all happy. Pacers just get everybody. Pacers are the real winners in this whole thing. Russell Westbrook needs to play and change his game the next season. I agree. He's going to end up becoming an Allen Iverson if he doesn't. Damn, I'm smoking up and these fembots. It's all good, Pluck. I took care of it already. I appreciate you. Being honest, right now, I think Russell Westbrook is so desperate to win a championship. He never won a championship in his whole career. Russell Westbrook, I don't know. I mean, he did say, he doesn't really care. Like, if he wins a championship, cool. If he does, he doesn't. All that stuff, yeah. Yes, Pluck is a moderator, so he should be on top of it. But we're all caught up in the chat, so I think this is a good place to end it here. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me. Again, if you're not subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel. We got 136 beautiful people. If any of you aren't subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. And if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. It really does help with this channel. I'm going to go look into the Kyrie tweet. If there really is a tweet or something, maybe we'll talk about it. I'll try to get a video up and we can have a conversation. But I really appreciate all of you. Seriously, thank you all so very much. And I will see you all in the next one. Thank you.